I want to introduce you to my friend Ben. He is the co-owner of Homebite, sorry, which is an app that connects private chefs to homeowners. Essentially, if a homeowner is thinking about having a meal catered at their house, or thinking about, hey, it would be really nice to, have somebody come in and even just do meal prepping for us, they can log on to this app. They can get connected with super amazing professional chefs in their area and have it all, kind of streamlined in one place. So I'm super excited to have Ben here with me. We met actually through Leadership Revolution. He joined in on a couple talks, and I was like, wow, I have to share what you do with everyone, because these are our people and what you're doing is so cool. So I'd love for you to tell everybody like what inspired you to get it started, and kind of, break down the app for us.
Yeah, so Homebite is chefs on demand, where private chefs can go into people's houses and cook them a delicious meal for either dinner or for a party, Valentine's Day, any special occasion. And we kind of started it as a side hustle for chefs who were kind of getting burnt out, working 7 days a week, 16-hour days. And so we just wanted them to have all the chefs to have a creative outlet, as well as be able to, put some money in their pocket doing what they love to do on their own terms.
I love that you, and I definitely want you to go into more detail on this, because you guys really took into consideration, I think, especially with what had gone on with the pandemic and what's happened with our industry during this pandemic, you guys were really focused in on making sure that you were being super supportive for the chef. You wanted it to be a place where the chefs could, essentially make extra money, but also, kind of have an opportunity to recoup, some of the money that they
Yep.
potentially have lost during this pandemic. I think a lot of us, I know so many people that got laid off from their jobs. A lot of people had to kind of start over, find a new home that worked for them. And even now, it's still so uncertain, right? We hear people, we're in lockdown, we're out of lockdown, open for dine-in, closed for dine-in. It's still kind of constantly changing. And so I think it's just, you guys came in and really started promoting this at the perfect time when chefs need it the most. And I also,
Yeah.
I want you to kind of go into detail too, that we talked about like how beneficial this can be for the chef, how you guys don't have a lot of fees associated and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the chef, there are no fees at all. In fact, we eat all the credit card payments for them. So whatever price that they set on our app, because chefs set the price, they set their own menus, they set their own courses. They want to do a 2-course meal, 5-course meal, however many they want, they can make. They can make as many menus as they would like. We kind of wanted it to be a place where chefs really were able to run their own business through us. So if they wanted to go in the private chef world, we wanted them to kind of be able to give them a platform where they could do that easily through us, where we handle the payments, we handle all the managerial things really. And, they make, if they put down, if they want $100 for a family of 2, or for a couple, they get $100. No, there's nothing hidden about it.
Well, and I think that that's just super amazing, because I know that there are other platforms where you can, as a chef, like, have the opportunity to see people who are looking for those types of services, but they often come with such a huge cut that unless the chef is charging an astronomical amount of money, it almost becomes not worth it. I love also that, you're giving these private chefs an opportunity to kind of launch their business if that's the direction that they want to go. The hardest part about launching a business is visibility. How do I get in front of the right type of customer? And you guys literally are solving that with this app. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you. And yeah, that was a big thing. I mean, we just wanted to design it around the chefs to give the chefs power. And any of our advertisements, we link it to specific chefs. So we have chefs that give us pictures, and we'll use their pictures as advertisements and have that link to their profile, in their area. So yeah, we just wanted to focus heavily on trying to make the chefs happy as possible.
What kind of processes what do you guys do to kind of like vet your chefs and your customers? What kind of process do you have to do? What does that look like?
So, I mean, it's pretty much the Wild West as far as an app goes. So, chefs can pretty much hop on there and go wild. We do have a background check that they can opt into. And that's pretty much the only thing that we do to vet the chefs, unless there's something like egregious that happens on the host side where, I mean, we have a review system, but it's pretty simple: thumbs up, thumbs down. And we call the chefs to find out what happens. You can't make everybody happy.
Sure.
And so, I mean, myself and my business partner, we both have worked in restaurants throughout the years. So, we know how hosts and customers can be when, they don't like the food, but, you can serve the exact same thing to somebody else and they absolutely love it. So, we have that in mind whenever there's a bad review or there's any problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Bryce just mentioned, she said, so many other types of apps are, kind of customer focused, which, you have to be, that's super important.
Mhm.
But they did kind of forget about the chef. And I love the fact that, you guys are really allowing the chef to then have some, the connection with the client, whether it's through the app or they pick up the phone and they sit down and they map out a menu together, they map out pricing together. You're really allowing for that chef to kind of take the lead on this, and have an opportunity to potentially say, oh, okay, this is the price point that this dish is coming in at. If you're thinking about a lower price point, maybe we can think about a chicken option or a vegetarian option that's a little bit less expensive, so that they don't lose the sale, because they're able to have that communication. And I think that's super important in hiring anybody for anything, right? You want to know who it is that's going to be, kind of supplying these products, these services, but even more so because now you're inviting them into your house. So, and vice versa, a chef, I know for myself, if I was going on this app, I would want to know who it is that I was going to go cook for, kind of have a better idea and a feel and formulate some sort of relationship, because I think you can tell a lot in a phone call on how this, the relationship might play out. It also allows for people to kind of, put their expectations on the table, and kind of see what that's going to look like. So I think it's really cool how you guys have navigated this so far. I know it's still pretty new, and you guys have it, pretty heavily in the Nevada market right now. Can you tell everybody else where this is kind of starting to be up and coming? I definitely want my Phoenix friends to look into this app, and let's get this blowing up here. But where else has it been received really well?
Yeah, so I mean, right now, that was our biggest problem when we first launched, is it wasn't everywhere. Now it can be anywhere. Anybody can sign up now, so that's good. That was a fun little problem to solve.
Yep.
But right now we're big in Texas, New York, and Nevada are kind of our hot spots right now.
Congratulations.
And yeah, we're trying to get everywhere, but it's hard during COVID times, to like go into different communities, talk to chefs. It's one of our biggest challenges, right? Is, just going out, meeting people, and letting them know that we exist.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why this is such a cool place, and this is why I love having leadership talks, because it can kind of give everybody an opportunity to come on and say, "Hey, this is what I'm about. In case you haven't heard about me, this is what we're doing." And what's going to be so fun about this, I'm really excited to kind of see how it starts to play out over the next couple of weeks, and and seeing, my chef friends say, oh my gosh, that'd be something I'd be interested in. Because I know so many of my chef friends are missing the opportunity to kind of do elevated, types of food,
Yeah.
elevated, styles of plate presentation and things like that. A lot of my, I know a lot of people that I used to work with, got laid off and they were really used to that kind of style. And then they've, since, moved on and gotten different jobs, and they're kind of missing that part in their life right now. So I know that this could be super awesome for them. In even growing their own brand, or just being able to kind of fulfill that need to continuously cook. I know that's why I signed up for it, because I was like, all right, because I'm not cooking all the time anymore. And, I am with like my clients and stuff, but I don't do it all day, every day anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, this could actually fulfill that need in me to kind of keep that going, which is super exciting.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I wanted to make it for was I used to work for a chef owner, and he had the idea in his mind that he was going to change his menu completely every quarter. So
Mhm.
every season he was going to make a new meal. Well, of course, you have the locals, they want their favorite thing on the menu. So he basically had to keep the same things every time, and he got really burnt out just cooking the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And even if he wanted to do like the elevated dishes and things, he had to think about bottom line and who he's serving. So yeah, I mean, that was one of the big things, is that creative outlet. So any chef can create elevated dishes. They can make to their heart's content whatever they want.
Now, are you opposed, like, let's say, as within Homebite, let's say a chef formulates a really good relationship with a client, and that client says, hey, I'd like to bring you on as like my, full-time chef. Is that something that you guys promote? Is that something that you guys would support? Would
Yeah,
you,
I mean,
you know what I mean? Would you want them to come back to the app then?
we would love them to stay on the app, but I mean, we're not going to kick somebody off just because they found a full-time gig somewhere. I mean, that's not really the goal of Homebite. So yeah, if people do that, that is totally fine. In fact, we even thought about it. One of our pivots was to restaurants when they were going to hire a chef or something. If you find a really good chef in the area and a restaurant owner says, hey, I want to see what this guy can do, and that guy gets hired, I mean, that's great. I mean, we really did build this for the chefs. So we have no qualms about them leaving or doing meal prep for those individuals or anything like that.
I love that. I think that that's so amazing, and that's going to come back for you guys. Knowing that you're supporting, a whole group of industry people who really need the support right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think our industry has gotten hit, the hardest with the most challenges that are just
Oh yeah,
continuing and continuing and
absolutely.
continuing day in and day out. And so I really think that, because of that, that's going to continue to separate you from the rest. And
Mm-hmm.
also just kind of allow for those stories to be an inspiration to your new chefs that are coming onto the platform. Like, how cool would it be, to say, hey, so and so, John Smith worked for us for 6 months, and now he just landed a huge client and he's full time with them. He works, 8 hours a week and is able to pay his,
Yeah,
entire mortgage on that, or something cool, right? Like, how awesome would that be?
yeah, exactly. Those are those stories of we would love to see.
Oh, for sure. I was going to ask you something. Hi, Scott. Thanks for joining. Have you guys thought, and my brain naturally goes to catering. Okay. I can't help that. I
Oh
spent
yeah.
10 years in catering. And so I just really, really love it. Have you thought, and if you haven't, and now that I'm saying it, it makes you want to, I will partner with you on this one. No, I'm just kidding. Um, have you thought about opening it up to like servers and bartenders and like maybe event professionals who could, essentially put together an event for, a homeowner, small, obviously we would have to keep everything small for right now, but somebody who's really trying to have that kind of full service catered event, baby shower, wedding shower, whatever.
Yeah, we are working on making that system a little bit more known to everyone. It's already built in because we have chefs that want to do like a murder mystery party, or they want to do something special for Valentine's Day coming up. It's already in the app, but like we did a really bad job of showing that it exists as a markup option. So we're working through making that part really just pop so everyone knows that, yeah, that's totally fine. And the way that it's built, so you can talk to the homeowners, you can really find out if it's okay to bring people, and if it's okay if you charge an extra $20 or $30 an hour for that, or whatever price that it's set. But yeah, we're
No, absolutely.
100% open to that. In fact, that when we first thought of it, that was kind of where we were going, or kind of we wanted people to come in and help, like say that you have people coming over, they have 50 people, that you can handle it, but you just need a little bit of help. We originally thought maybe we could get people just to come in and help for set out the lasagna plates, do that type of thing for them.
Right. And I guess I was just kind of, even thinking, further into that, on top of it just being chefs, you could actually essentially, maybe even have like servers and bartenders join in on this app, so that they can almost like kind of partner together to tackle things. Because like, as a chef, maybe we don't have a ton of front of house experience, or actually like serving in that way,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
know there's tons of clients that would really appreciate having that kind of white glove service, right? So
Mhm.
those were just my two
Absolutely.
senses on that, and like maybe, for the future, down the road.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely something we want to get into the app. Just it's a hard thing to, from getting into the weeds. It's a really hard thing to program
Mhm.
when you have like multiple people on one gig.
Oh, I'm
So
sure.
that is definitely a down the line issue. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
we want to
sure.
bring that to the table.
Do you guys have any, like, do you have a lot of like chefs that are now bringing in their chef friends, who are bringing in their chef friends? Do you feel like word of mouth has been kind of what has gotten you guys going, or has it been more of like an
Oh yeah.
advertising type thing? I mean, I know you guys were featured in some articles and stuff like that, but what's really been like the kick that's now gotten you guys in, three huge markets?
Yeah, it's almost always been word of mouth. I mean, the advertising is great, but the word of mouth from the industry has just been absolutely ginormous for us spreading. We really didn't advertise that much in the Reno market. And, just because of the few people that we have here and just kind of promoting it themselves, I mean, that's kind of how we've grown in Reno as much as we have, which is our biggest market right now,
Yeah.
even though it's a really small area, really.
No, I mean it definitely is. It's like, it's a lot in like a small little area for sure. What I was going to ask you though, and like what I was kind of, just curious on, well, at least what I wanted you to kind of share with everybody that's listening. The one thing I noticed the most about this app is that it is super, super user friendly. I felt like within
Yeah.
seconds I could navigate around it. I knew what was going on. I understood it. It was very clear and concise. How in developing that app, how easy or difficult was it to make it that streamlined? Because I don't know the first thing about designing something like that.
Yeah. So as it turns out, we knew nothing about designing either. And we originally launched in September, and to say that it wasn't user friendly would be an understatement. It just kind of pissed everyone off. And so we had to spend from September to December. We actually redid the entire app to just all the feedback and hate mail that I got, just to try to make it more user friendly based on what everybody's suggestions were. There were a lot of suggestions.
But
So
that's,
yeah, I mean, it was a rough ride,
it
but
always is,
yeah,
you
like you
know.
said, like now I think it's in a good place.
It really is in a good place, and I think that that's one thing that you can definitely share with, you know, not just like the chefs in that are listening in or that are going to be listening in, you know, like the business owners, you know, people who are starting something, you know, there are bumps
Yeah.
and bruises along the way, no matter
Oh yes.
what it is that you're doing, and it's
Oh
definitely not for the, what is it, the faint of heart or whatever. What's that phrase? I can never, I feel like I always mess
yeah.
up phrases, you know? Um, you have to be kind of prepared to know that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be exactly how it's supposed to be. And that's okay, because it's all about the road. It's all about the journey. And I love that, you know, I saw that post that you had put on your Facebook page, where you just really took the opportunity to thank everybody for their feedback, which I thought was very classy and also very important, that you were
Yeah.
willing to listen, you were willing to take that advice, you were willing to put that into the platform and just say, okay, so this is what people are saying, and this is what we need to do to make sure that, you know, it it becomes the vision that we have in our mind becomes what people need, want, and can use.
Exactly. I mean, and you know, it's all part of the process. But I mean, no matter what business it is, if it's app designing, if it's restaurant, it's all a service industry, and you need to be able to provide a good service for everyone. So yeah, I mean, anytime that people give us feedback, I mean, we listen to it, and you know, I think we've based on the feedback, we took about 90% of it into consideration when we did the redesign. I mean, that is somebody who sent us mail or an email or a text or whatever. We took that and basically put that into the app. So I mean, it's you can't do it alone, I guess is the best way to describe, I mean, anything really. And you know, it was a group effort, and you know, everyone who helped us, we appreciate all. But that's how we got it where it is today, was just, you know, you have to be open to listening to everyone's feedback. The moment you close off, then you're done.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, a lot of people who are like launching a business or, you know, launching an app or, you know, whatever it is, I think that they tell themselves, you know, this is going to be, I know this is going to be hard, but it's going to be okay, right? And but they don't allow
Yeah.
for enough time to pass for you to really get over the bumps and bruises. It's like, I know that I knew that this was going to be hard. I just didn't think it was going to be this hard. And then they give up.
Yeah.
I see it all the time where businesses just say, you know what? Never mind. It's not worth it. I can't do it. I have to give up. And it's like, it's right when you hit that moment that you need to not give up, because change is like right around that corner. It's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, did you feel that way when
Oh
at
yeah,
any point?
absolutely. Oh yeah, I felt it. I mean, we're in September. You know, we kind of got hit. We got knocked down pretty hard, and you know, if we gave up, I mean, it would have been such a waste of everything just to give up. But I mean, a lot of people do. They see, they think in their mind that it's all going to go perfectly and smoothly, and it never does. Nothing goes perfectly or smoothly. And yeah, if you don't make the changes necessary and you give up, I mean, it's just over. Because if you're at that point where you're seeing the difficulty and it is hard, the moment that you change, the moment you pivot, I mean, that's where everything kind of opens up for you, because you can make it easier on yourself by making those, I mean, in many ways, basic changes.
You know, it's just funny how, you know, in any service based industry, I mean, it really does come back to like listening to the customer, listening to the client, and implementing what it is that they're saying. And I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the hard and the challenge of it, and almost like a feeling, especially in the, you know, hospitality industry, a feeling of well, you don't know what it is that I'm going through, that we forget to listen to customers along the way. We forget to pay attention to that. And, and I'm not trying to say that the customer is always right, right? Like that's not it. There are some super big asshole
Yeah.
customers out there that just suck. Okay.
Oh
But
yeah.
a lot of
All the
times
time.
what they're saying is usually not wrong. How they've said it might be jerky, but it's usually not wrong information. I see it all the time with clients where, I'm like, but the truth is they got mad because they waited, for this long, or, they didn't get sat and they were told they were going to get sat and then they ended up waiting for another 45 minutes. And, we kind of say things like, well, we should just be, they should just understand that it's COVID. They should just understand that it's COVID. And I kind of come back and I say, well, we also should be focusing on the fact that our staff was not trained enough to give them an appropriate timeline, because that's the actual problem to begin with, right? It's just funny
Yeah, exactly.
how we have a tendency of doing that. And I think that it took, for both of you guys, just a lot of guts to throw this out there to do, and then, a lot of grit to keep pushing and keep going through. And also, staying humble in the process and making sure that your egos were kind of left at the door. Okay. We're not here to be know-it-alls. We're not here to say that we have all of the answers, but we are focused on providing a service. We're focused on providing something that people need, desire, want, and that could be really helpful to an industry that needs it right now. So I definitely want to, just say like, well done. Very, good job, because, it's not easy for sure.
No, it's definitely not easy, and it's been a long road since we originally we were planning on launching in February or March, and it's just COVID
You're right.
happened, and we just had to keep pivoting and just got to make the changes. And one thing about ego, I think ego is the number one thing that kills any business, kills any type of good working environment. The moment that people come in with an ego, a know-it-all, I mean, that's just where it can all just end right there. Just from my experiences of working in the restaurant industry, doing app development, I mean, the moment somebody comes in and says, this is the way we've been doing it forever, and this is the way we're going to stick to it, the moment you can't change is or listen to feedback. I mean, you're talking about not having good customers, and some of them are assholes. I mean, we got a lot of hate mail for how difficult our app was in the beginning, and you just kind of have to swallow your pride and say, well, they said it, they hurt my feelings, but they're not wrong in that.
Right.
And that is an important thing to always remember. Leaving the ego at the door is number one in my book.
Hey, I love it. We would have definitely gotten along quite well working together for sure. Because that was always something that I really focused on in my kitchens and in my team development and my management, was that we just don't have time for it. You have to leave it at the door. And, and I even do that with clients now, where, obviously, I'm somebody who I have to go in and I have to say a lot of things that a lot of people don't want to hear. And I have to say the hard that nobody wants to say.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things I have to say to them is, there's the door, and we're going to put our ego on the other side of it. You know what I mean? Because we don't have room for it here. And I think, you've kind of, summed it up pretty well. This year has all been about being able to pivot, being able to move, being able to change.
Yep.
Because if you don't, you will not survive. And it's kind of an interesting topic, and I don't mean to kind of stray away from what it is that you do. I just love talking about this with people. One thing that I've noticed with a lot of people in the industry since the pandemic, the one thing I will say is that I feel like people are more scared not to change than they are of change itself due to the pandemic. I think that it has definitely opened up the eyes of a lot of people that were, couldn't see through just getting through the day. And I still
Yeah.
think that there's tons of businesses that still have to do that. But for the first time, change isn't the scariest thing. It's the fear of not changing and not making it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one thing. It's going to be an interesting thing that comes out of COVID is how, people in the workforce are they going to finally like realize, we don't have to be doing it this way. We don't have to be going to a team meeting every Tuesday for an hour for no reason. It's going to be an interesting, I mean, the whole world's going to be, I think business wise is completely going to be different than it has been just because like you said, like we have to change now. If you don't change, nothing's going to work anymore. So it's going to be really interesting. I know like my dad, he does, he loves to sail and he has a sailing program. And, they have completely gone to online now. They used to do conferences 3 times a year. And they've said, we're not doing those anymore. It's just a waste of everyone's time. It's a waste of everyone's money. We're just going to do it online. And you just come to the talks that you want to hear. So, I mean, it's going to be a real interesting place to see in the next, even in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, things are definitely, the industry is definitely, all of the industries are shifting, and they're almost not even a version of the version you knew them to be is not even who they represent any longer. And it's crazy, but and it's been hard, and there's been challenges, and there's been devastation, but there's also been opportunity if you can see past the devastation and see past all of the shit storm that was this pandemic and is this pandemic still. Opportunity is there. I mean, you guys saw an opportunity, right? I mean, you had this vision in your mind, and you knew that you wanted to be able to launch this, but had you done it before the pandemic, you would have had to have changed, because the pandemic almost kind of forced you to say, oh, but these are the features we need now, and this is how we're going to need it, and this is even more needed now because of what's happening with the pandemic. You looked at that and you took the opportunity, and that's why you guys have been successful. You saw that there was a need and you fulfilled the need.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that you say that, because our biggest pivot was culinary schools. Originally, we worked with culinary schools on Homebite, to get their students experience so they could go into the workplace. In Reno, we have a lot of casinos that hire, and we were thinking about being a feeder program for the casinos. And, all of that, all the talks and all of that, that was in February. So, we've had to completely change, and we hadn't launched by then. The app was still in development. And once March hit, the schools shut down. Some of them went out of business, unfortunately. I mean, we had to then say, okay, we're going to completely flip the script, go away from the culinary schools. And now we're, focused just on, your restaurant type chefs who want to get into private chefing or just want, some extra income.
Right.
I mean, that was our biggest pivot that we had to make. And the biggest, because we had all these features in our mind. We were like, oh, we're going to do this for them and this. And now all of that's gone.
Well, I think you landed on the perfect thing for what it is right now. I think at some point, maybe, connecting with the culinary schools again, that might make sense for the future. But you guys are in had you only focused on that and put all of that in, would you have been able to, kind of be where you are right now? It's funny how divine timing plays a huge role in where we end up, across the board. I feel like I've had this conversation with so many people that are like, I was seconds away from making this decision, and then COVID hit, and then it went whoop, and then opposite,
Yeah. I think that if we would have gone down that road, I mean, we would be sunk right now. I mean, if we would have just focused on the culinary school still, I mean, I think only one school is open here now, and they don't let anybody extra come in. So, yeah, I mean, we would have been sunk if we stuck and just stayed with the plan.
Right. How did you guys come together, you and your business partner?
We went to college together for a little bit, and we both ended up dropping out of that college and going to separate colleges, but we just stayed in touch. We worked on tons of projects over the years, probably about 5 or 6 different pretty big projects. And we just, got tired of working for everyone else and wanted to start our own thing where we could be in charge. And let's see, we've known each other for almost 10 years now. It's been way too long.
Did you feel like, because you've known, because sometimes when we enter into businesses with people, we don't always understand what our roles are going to be. Was it pretty easy to kind of clearly define your guys' roles within the company and how that was going to play out?
Oh yeah, it was super easy. He's like a tech guru. He's worked for tons of Fortune 100 companies. So he does the tech side and I do everything else. So that's pretty much how our roles were separated. And that's pretty much it. I mean, he and I both kind of have the no ego mentality. So, we never really have to butt heads with each other. It's been an easy ride with him, fortunately. I've had other
and that's great.
businesses with people that
right?
Yeah, usually friendships and businesses don't go well together, but this one has.
Well, I do the everything else, and my husband does the tech for the company and all of the back end stuff. We definitely do butt heads. I mentioned the other day or somewhere, I was like, what is the key to our successful marriage and successful business is separate offices. But I think, if we do butt heads, it's because we're married. I definitely wouldn't be able to do what I do without him. I don't have a mind for that kind of thing. I've gotten a lot better over the years, especially in the last 2 years, at understanding systems and things like that. But oh my gosh, it's not for me. My brain does not work that way. I don't know that it will ever work that way. I know enough just to get by, and that's why I focus on people, and he focuses on making sure I can continue to talk to people.
Yep. It's the best way to do it right there.
Right. No, for sure. So do you guys have any future plans with Homebite? I mean, besides, keeping it growing, do you have any, new things that you're going to be rolling out, or features or anything like that you want to share with anybody?
Yeah, I mean, down the line, we're going to do wine mapping classes. So we have some people that are interested in creating classes for not only wine mapping, but also for just teaching people how to cook.
Oh.
Where they can go into somebody's home, have 8 or 9 people, and they can show them how to make a great pork chop or any type of food. Really, that's our biggest thing that we're going to be pushing out. And right now it's still kind of focusing in on just making sure everything works, but that's our big one, our next big project.
I love that. That is so fun. And that's really cool, because I couldn't tell you, one of the biggest things I've noticed, and I've been trying to really pay attention to, especially when it comes to, connecting with clients and making sure that you understand where your clients are at. The one thing that they're all missing out on right now are experiences. Like we miss having an experience, or they're really, few and far between, and they're selective. And anyway, I think that is so amazing, and that's going to be so fun to kind of be able to host that and create this experience and allow, the chef to be able to, shine but be in I mean, I know for myself, when I'm teaching other people how to cook, there's so much less pressure to perform, that because it almost becomes like this group activity, than it is when I'm actually just doing like a super high-end plated meal or something like that.
Mhm. And it's cooking for, you don't want to get somebody like, they don't have to have those super intense knife skills. They just need to make a delicious dinner that you're teaching them. So yeah, I'm super excited for that part of the app.
No, you'll definitely keep me posted on, how that plays out. And when you guys feel comfortable launching that, I'm really excited. I think that there'd be, I have so many ideas going through my head. It's ridiculous. So we're definitely going to have to talk more about that, because I think that's cool. That's unique. That's really fun. And I think it's something that could also help chefs, who are trying to kind of, branch out of their shells a little bit. Oftentimes we think
Yeah.
of chefs being like these super badass, extroverts. But the truth is like, we're behind the scenes a lot of the time. So we might be an
Exactly.
extrovert with our people behind the scenes, but we're not always great in front and kind of putting ourselves out there, or
Mhm.
being the faces and things like that. So that could be a really good opportunity to kind of help people, who are looking to build a name and looking to build a brand and looking to build an identity, that is known within their community. There's so much. I told you, my head's spinning. I'm excited. I like it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was the most requested feature from the chef so far, is we want to be able to do classes so I can teach, anybody and everybody, wine mapping, or, even knife work skills. I mean, that's really one thing that we're going to be pushing out.
All right. Well, if you want me to teach a class, let me know, because I'd be down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Your pricing.
I want you to tell everyone where they can find you, how they can, get in touch with you, and, all that good jazz.
Oh yeah, I mean, we are, homebite.com is the website. You can email me anytime at Ben at homebite.com. You can, from there, send me an email and I'll give you my phone number, and you can call, text anytime. I'm pretty much available 24/7 nowadays, so I am here to help.
Ben at homebite.com, right?
Yep.
I'm putting it in the comments for everyone to email, get in touch. Like I said, I'm really hoping that my Phoenix, friends take a listen to this. I'll be promoting it and continue to be promoting it. I think this is such a great opportunity. I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard people in the last 6 to 10 months be like, gosh, I just wish there was somewhere that I could get in front of people so that I could continue to do private chef work or grow my private chef, audience. So I think it's super beneficial. I'm so glad that you came on with me today, and I'm just glad that we got to meet each other and have you on.
Yeah, exactly.
This
Yeah, it
is,
was great being here, and I love your talks. They're great.
oh, thank you. I think you're awesome. I want to, make sure to give a big shout out. What's your business partner's name as well?
Alex Tesh.
Alex, we got to give Alex a big shout out for being the tech, mastermind behind all of this as well.
We wouldn't do it without him.
People like me and you, Ben, we would be nowhere without our tech-minded friends that keep us,
Yeah,
keep us
exactly.
going. So big shout out to him.
Do the real work.
Right. Anything else you want to let people know about Homebite, before we kind of sign off?
I mean, we're here. That's pretty much the message I'm trying to get out these days is just we're here and we are everywhere.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, very good. I put the link to the website, in the comments so everybody can check it out. And then next week, just so you guys know, for my leadership talks next week, I'm going to be talking with Jordan from Quick. Quick is essentially a, temp staffing, app that I've worked with since the very beginning, since they first kind of launched. I'm a big fan of Quick. Just like Ben at Homebite, they've really focused on, keeping in mind that like service and connecting with people is super important. So even though these are, apps, there's people behind the apps that you can always get in touch with, and they can always be connected. I have nothing but the best, amazing things to say about Quick. How they vet their professionals is top notch. There's been plenty of times where some of my best employees were Quick employees that I only had for 6 hours that day. Huge fan. So I'm excited for that next week. And I just want to say thank you one more time to Ben with Homebite for coming on today and sharing his amazing app with us. And I hope to see you all on the next Leadership Talks. Cheers.
Yeah, it was great talking to Rebecca. Bye.
Thank you so much.